In this video, I'm going to talk about how to use Postman with Spring Boot. Why we need Postman. Suppose we don't have a front end in our project. We are working in a back end only. We haven't started in a front end. But we have to check that whether our back end is has been working successfully or not. Our API is working successfully or not. To check that, we can use a tool called a Postman. In this tool we can send our request, and we can check our API whether it is responding is correctly or not. Okay. Let's install the Postman in the Chrome browser. Type Postman in Chrome and download it. It is a simple procedure to download Postman. Let's skip the installation part. Let's enter into the program. I'm taking the same example. Okay. See, we can see that by default the HTTP request is the GET request. What we need to suppose what if we have to send our request in a post method. Okay. So how that this request mapping will map? Okay. There will be a question mark, right? Whatever request coming from the browser by default it is GET request. So suppose if it is a post request means how we can handle it. Okay. So we have to set that we have to set that request post. Okay. Yeah, it can be done either using React or Angular. Okay. Now we don't have any front end, so we are using a tool called Postman. Okay. So by default, I'm making this M2 as post request. So I'm using an annotation called as post mapping. Okay. Post mapping annotation will map the post HTTP request to this M2 method. Okay, while calling the M2 method. Okay, and I'm giving M2. Okay, we run this program in Postman. Okay, first we need to restart our server. Uh, okay, now our application has been successfully executed and it has been running in port 8080. Let me test using our Postman tool. So in this Postman, here we see a collection there. Click plus, click blank collection. Okay. Then click new. Instead of new collection, write something. I'm I'm giving the name as demo app. So I given the name. Okay. Then we have to give the new request. So I'm giving add request. Okay. The request I'm saying as M2. Okay. And the request I have mentioned is post. So I'm going to give the a post HTTP request. Okay. So we don't have any front end, so I'm using a tool called Postman tool. So in this, I'm going to give an post HTTP request. Okay. And we have to give the URL. Okay. Localhost colon 8080 M2. Let me check the program once again. Okay. And I'm giving the parameter id equal to 3. So in this upper section we are giving the request. Okay, we can see the response in downside. Okay, we can see the output id is to 3. So our post request has been successfully uh, from the from the from the front end it has been entered into the backend. From the backend, it has been successfully generated the response and sent to the browser. Okay, this all been taken care by controller class. From the browser, it has been sent it to the controller. Controller will, as all the handler methods, will handle the inputs, and if it has to be called any business logic means it will go into business layer, or if there is no nothing means it will send a response based on our input. So we get the input as id is to 3. Okay, then let me see. Okay, let me see. What suppose we didn't give a post request? Okay, instead of post I'm giving a get mapping m2. Okay, sorry, post. I didn't change anything. Okay, let's see in browser. Okay, here in tool we have sent the http request, but in browser, in browser, we will send only we can send only the get request. Okay, but we cannot send a post request unless we didn't modify any front end. We didn't build any front end, so we can't able to modify the request. So by default it will send us a get request. Okay, if we run our program in browser, it will pass it as a get request only. So it will shows the error. I will wait. M2 is to ID equal to 1. Here we see that method is not allowed because by default it is get method. Okay. We have mentioned the method here as post method. Okay. That's why uh, that's why the error is happening. Instead of post, I'm giving get. Let's see what happening. Before running, we have to terminate the running server and then restart the server again. Let's run it. The ID equal to 1. Now it is working because I have changed it to get request. If it was post request means we have to send this request as post request. But we didn't have any front end. That's why we unable to change it to post request. So that's why we are getting error. So that's all about in this section.